Do you have a yoga block at home? If so, we can use the yoga block to kind of help a little bit, perhaps release 2 blocks, 2 blankets, a bolster, and a strap. Oh, sweet, you got the whole setup. Perfect. Good, okay, so we will use the block to do like a little, hopefully like a little massage of the calf. Maybe that will help, you know, create a little, you know, blood flow perhaps to the area. Maybe it'll help release if there's some tension or tightness. But if it doesn't feel good, like if it starts to fire up that burning feeling in your heel, then I want you to not push it, you know, or not cause any do anything that's going to cause you to have more discomfort going on in your heel. Perfect. Good. Okay. I know you know how to take good care of yourself. You've been doing yoga for a long time. All right, so we're gonna start with the block, okay? And I'm gonna grab my second one. And we're gonna start in a seated position. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and in my video here, I'm going to keep the chat up in case there's anything you want to say. I'll keep an eye on the chat. Okay, and we'll get started in hero's pose, also known as Virasana. So I'm already actually in the pose. It's a kneeling posture where you are kneeling and you are sitting either on your heels or onto the blocks. And I suggest sitting on the blocks to start, as I would like for us to do a little bit of mindfulness practice while we're there. And so I want you to make sure that your knees don't feel a lot of pressure or too much weight bearing where it will become uncomfortable for you to stay in hero's pose for just a few minutes. And so what you can do is take the blocks, either 1 block or 2, and place them between your ankles. And then you can either keep the knees separate about the distance of the hips, or you can bring the knees to touch, which will give you a little bit more of an internal rotation of the legs. Okay. And so the more blocks you use, the higher you'll be away from your legs, the more it might start to feel like you're seated in a chair. You want to be able to feel neutral in your spine, okay? Your pelvis is in a nice neutral position where there's not an incredible amount of rounding or arching in the lower back. The sides of the waist are nice and long. You're able to find a sense of poise and relaxation in the posture. You can rest your palms right onto the tops of your thighs. And perhaps you might rest the right hand right on top of the left hand and just let both palms rest like so, right in the top of your lap. And then gently close your eyes. Allow your chin to drop a bit towards your chest. And just bowing your head gently towards yourself, towards your heart, towards your practice. And then affirm to yourself that now you are going to do your yoga practice. Perhaps this is your time to slow down, to ease into the evening. Perhaps this is the time for you to take good care of the body and to create that beautiful connection of mind and body. Carving out moments of stillness for yourself. This could be that time right now. And then I'd like you to bring your attention to all the places where your body is touching the ground. The shins resting onto the earth, and also your sit bones resting on the blocks. Allowing a sense of heaviness to be there into those places where you are connected to the earth. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin, the way that the clothes feel on your body. Notice sounds around you. Relax your eyes, your cheeks. Relax your jaw. Allow your shoulders to release away from the ears. Perhaps imagining that there are 2 ice cubes resting on top of your shoulders and melting against the heat of your body. 2 nice cool ice cubes melting to water. Relaxing your shoulders and softening and cooling your body. And now I'd like you to bring your palms together right in front of your heart. And gently press the hands together, feeling all 10 fingertips touching. Take a nice deep breath in. And then sigh the breath out. And do that one more time. Inhale. And as you exhale, bow your chin. Bringing your fingertips right to the third eye and just resting them there. And gently connecting to that space of wisdom. Relax your hands down. And gently flutter open the eyes, taking in the earth. And then lift your gaze. And from here, we're going to come onto our hands and our knees. So you can come forward off of the blocks and just set them off to the side. And I'd like you to bring your palms underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips. And we'll start with some hip circles. Okay, so I want you to shift your hips towards the right and then swing the hips back towards the heels. Shift them over to the left and then come back to center, shoulders over wrists. So taking some nice big sweeping gestures with the hips, starting to wake up this region of the body, release any tension that might be here in this region of the body. And then go ahead and reverse and take your circles in the opposite direction. There's no right or wrong here, just moving in any way that feels good. And then go ahead and come on back to center with your shoulders right over your wrists. And we'll move through some cat-cow movements. Okay, so as you inhale, go ahead and lift your head, your heart, and lift your tailbone too. So you're settling into the saddle of your back here. And then exhale and round your spine. Push the earth away, drop the head, drop the tailbone, and lift the back of your heart. Inhale, lift the front of your chest, your head, and your tailbone. And then exhale and round your spine. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cow. I want you to keep your awareness in the hips as well as the belly, as well as the heart, just in the trunk of your body, from your shoulders to your hips, and just feel into the movement of this portion of your body. From your neck down to your tailbone. Noticing the way that your upper spine moves. Noticing the way that the belly opens and closes. Noticing the way that the hips move back and forth. Just allowing a sense of expression in your own unique way for moving and caring for your body. And then come on back to center. And I'd like you to move into a child's pose for a moment. Take your two big toes to touch. Separate your knees just a little wider than your hips. And then go ahead and shift your hips back towards your heels again. Allow your forehead to come down towards the earth. Relax your hands, your elbows, relax your forehead. And just take a few deep breaths right here. Just breathing into the back of your body. Allowing your awareness of your breath to move into all parts of your body. And just following along with the breath wherever it goes. And now we'll take this into a side bend. So you're going to lift your head and your chest about halfway. Walk your hands over towards the left. And then go ahead and lower down again. Now, as you lower down, I want you to focus on the space between your right shoulder and your right hip. So that whole side body area that's getting some nice length. Take a moment to breathe into the side body. And you can really create a little bit more length by gently pressing the hands into the earth and then moving that right hip back and down as if you are trying to move that right hip away from the shoulder, creating a little bit more stretch. And then on your inhale, you're going to lift yourself. You're going to travel through the center of your mat again, all the way over to the right side. So your body is now going to lie on top of your right leg and opening up that whole left side body into a side child's pose stretch. Sending the breath into the whole left side body. Relax your shoulders though. Soften your facial muscles and just breathe. Good. Inhale yourself up. Come all the way back to center. And then I'd like you to come on down to your forearms. And we're going to come into a little forearm plank position. Okay, so with your elbows down onto the ground, I want you to just grab a hold of opposite elbows and just make sure that you've got them about the distance of your shoulders. Okay? And then return your forearms to the mat so that they're parallel to one another. And now it's important in our forearm plank that we are resisting the pull of gravity that's going to be pulling us down. And so I want you to push into your forearms and lift up and out of your shoulders. Try to create a nice long neck. neck. So you might, instead of looking forward, which kind of crinkles the skin in the back of the neck, you might just look straight down so that the back of the neck and the front of the neck are the same nice open space. And then from here, I want you to stretch your feet back, okay, and straighten your legs. And then really hollow the belly center. Okay? You're gonna squeeze everything in nice and tight. You're gonna reach through your feet and just stay here and breathe as best you can. Really firing up the belly center for a moment here, feeling that sense of strength and courage. Maybe a little bit of willpower here as you are holding this. I know it's hot outside. Just bringing out some of that warmth from the outside inside right now. Creating that nice heat that helps us transform. Take another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, go ahead and set one knee down and then the other. Good job. And you're going to press on up to tabletop pose. And then from here, I want you to walk your hands forward a couple of inches in front of your shoulders. And let's take an inhale and shift our body weight forward so our shoulders float over our wrists. And then we're going to curl our toes under and we're going to make our way into a downward facing dog. Okay, so as you push the earth away, I want you to straighten your arms as best you can. Make sure that your hands are a nice distance apart, perhaps a little wider than the shoulders if you need some space for tightness in the shoulders. You can also turn the palms out a little bit if that gives you a little extra room. Now I want you to work on really hugging everything in nice and tight in the torso. The ribs move towards the back body. And we are toned in the belly, hollowing out. And then the hips are moving up and back towards the wall that's behind you or whatever's behind you. And then if you like, you can pedal your feet. Maybe you want to bend one knee, sink the opposite heel. Just get a little nice release in the legs. If this aggravates the heel at all, then you can skip the pedaling of the feet and just keep the knees bent instead, maybe staying up on the balls of the feet instead, working on finding that nice length through your back. Okay, sending your breath through all places in the body, nice, conscious, deep breathing. Good. And then on your next breath out, go ahead and come on down to your tabletop pose again. And then let's go ahead and move into a child's pose once more. Two big toes will touch, heels just a little wider than the hips. And then we'll go ahead and we'll drop down into our child's pose. Okay, so taking a nice moment here just to rest the hands. And just to notice how you feel so far in your practice, just checking in. Good. And now from here, go ahead and come on up to tabletop pose again. And I want you to walk your hands forward again so that they're just in front of the shoulders. And go ahead and shift your body weight forward so shoulders are over the wrists. And then as slowly as you can, take your time as you lower down all the way to the earth. And then once you're down, I want you to straighten your legs. You can allow your feet to be the distance of the hips, or maybe you want to go a little wider if you need a little space for the lower back. And then we're going to be coming into Sphinx pose. Okay, so I want you to really ground yourself in the lower portion of the body. So we've got some nice, strong, active legs. You might press into the tops of the feet so you can feel the legs activate. I want you to squeeze the glutes and tone the navel center. And then walk your hands forward so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders or perhaps slightly forward. Okay, so you can, again, come to the measurement practice where you hold on to opposite elbows and just see where you've landed with your measurements. And then bring your forearms back to the parallel position. Okay, and so this is a gentle little heart opener. We're bringing our awareness now up into the heart space and just allowing this space to kind of open up. Okay, so we want to ground down through that lower half of the body. We're pressing the pubic bone into the earth, really helping to stabilize and support ourselves in our lower back so that we can really peel the heart forward and up, creating that nice opening in the chest. Maybe a sense of the shoulder blades and the tips of the shoulder blades moving in towards the back of the heart. We want to melt the shoulders down away from the ears and then just allow the heart space to open. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, you're going to release your elbows out to the side. And you'll lower your chest down to the earth. You can make a little pillow with the hands and just drop your forehead down onto your palms. Go ahead and bend your knees and just gently sway the legs side to side, creating a gentle little rotation in the lower portion of the body. Let your hips sway a bit here. And then we'll come on back to center. We'll let the legs return to the earth. So we're straightening them out. And I want you to walk your hands back so that they're underneath your shoulders. Your elbows are away from the earth. And you're going to come on up to tabletop pose again. Press on up. And then from here, let's come to a seat. Okay, so hopefully that felt like a nice full release of your whole body, just helping to open up the front body, open up the back body, get a little bit into the sides. And so now I want you to just come to a seat. We're going to take some simple twists and then we'll move into some of that treatment for the calves. And I hope that that feels okay for you. But first, what I want you to do is just take a comfortable seat. If you happen to have that blanket and you want to use that to sit on to help you find that same length through your spine so the low back isn't arching a lot or rounding too much, it just feels like a nice neutral spine, then go ahead and sit up onto something. And then I want you to just let your hands rest on your knees for a moment. And we're going to inhale now and take the arms out to the side and up. And then as you exhale, go ahead and turn to the right. Let your arms sweep out to the side and then drop them down. So turning from that center space, allowing that left hand to land onto the right leg somewhere. The right hand is going to be behind you. You can use it as a little kickstand just to remind you to stay nice and tall in your spine. And I just want you to take a few breaths here. Think of that lower half of your body once again as that place of groundedness, of centeredness. And the rotation is coming from there like a spiral staircase. The rotation moves from there up and around. The ribs are rotating around the spine. And now I want you to stay right here in the twist. Keep your arms where they're at, but then turn your head and look over your left shoulder. So you're just inviting a separate rotation of the cervical spine now, just to open up the neck a bit. We'll take a nice breath in. And then I want you to just turn the head back to a neutral position. Exhale and release, coming all the way back to center. Inhale, take your arms up again, big breath in. And then exhale, rotate, let your arms come down. And we're turning to the left now. Your right hand comes across your body. It's going to land on the knee. And then the right hand is behind you, someplace either on the earth or perhaps onto your blanket or your block if you're using something to support you. The shoulders are relaxed here. Gaze is soft. And just breathing. Now we're going to add that rotation of the neck. So I want you to just turn your head now to look over your right shoulder. Just stay here and breathe. Only going as far as feels comfortable for you and your body. Every day is always a little different, right? Some days we have weird little pains in the body. We're not quite sure where they're coming from or why they're there. And take a nice deep breath in. And then you're going to return the head to that center position. And then on your next exhale, I want you to release and come on back to center. So just loop your shoulders a couple of times. Maybe let your head drop from side to side. Draw some nice big circles in the air with the nose. Just gently releasing the neck. Get the same thing, reverse your circles. Good. And then come on back to center. And so grab that yoga block now, and we're going to do a little treatment for the calves. Okay, so this is one of my favorite things to do if ever I'm feeling a little tight in here, in my Achilles heels. I can sometimes, when I get a little tight up in here, sometimes I will feel that tightness go around and down into the back of my heel. And I find that if I do something just to kind of treat the calf a little bit, sometimes that helps. And so one of the practices I do is I will take a block and I will use the block as like an acupressure tool. So I want you to just take your legs out in front of you. And then as you can see, you know, the block, it has these corners to it. If you hold the block like so, you've got one little corner. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be resting our calf onto one corner and then balancing the block on the floor on the opposite corner. So you're going to end up with the block at an angle like so. Okay, so I want you to start underneath, you know, your choice. You can do left or right, but I want you to start with the edge of the block up at the very top of the calf muscle, just below the crease of the knee. I like to straighten out the other leg. Okay, so go ahead and set the calf, that upper portion of the calf, right onto the edge of the block, and then just balance the block on the floor on its opposite corner. I can't remember if we've done this in class already. You'll have to tell me at the end of tonight's class if this is something that we've done before at Prema. Okay, so right when you get here and you start to rest your leg, letting gravity really help you here, you just kind of want to let go of effort and allow the block to push into your calf. It might already feel really sensitive, and so this technique can be uncomfortable if you're really tight in there, if there's some knots or something going on. This can definitely feel really uncomfortable. So you can go as deep or as soft, as hard or as soft, as deep or as light as you want. If you are just allowing the leg to rest into the block, that's already, you know, gonna do something. If you want to add a little bit more, you can start to turn your leg like this and just allow that edge of that block to kind of massage the ropey muscle bands that are in there. And
My cat, oh, I'm definitely finding some really tender spots already.
So you're going to be going like this a couple of times towards that top portion of the calf. And then you're gonna slowly, little by little, after treating each piece of the calf, you're gonna move the block down little by little. Right? And then another thing, if you feel like the weight of your leg isn't enough and you wanna add your own extra assisted weight, you take your other leg and you place it on top. You cross the legs. And then you let go into this. You let that other leg weight down the bottom leg into the block, which can be maybe quite intense, maybe not, depends, right? Depends on the person. Okay, so now we're up here in that meaty part of the calf. So as you get lower towards your ankle, just know that you're getting into that Achilles tendon. Right, so the tendon might be a lot more sensitive than the muscle part. So go easy. One of my teachers who does this a lot using the yoga tune-up balls, she would often say, you know, pause right outside of the most tender parts that you find and then just see if you can breathe. And if you can't breathe, you might be doing too much. So, yeah, so just slowly kind of make your way down, you know, and take your time. Know that you can, again, go as hard or as soft as you want. I always find that if I can achieve the results I want doing less, I often end up much happier in my body. You know, so just go easy. Notice how you feel the next day, you know, and then after you do this tonight, see if it helped you feel better or worse. And then you can kind of treat, you know, yourself a little bit every other day in this kind of way and just see if it helps to alleviate whatever is causing that pull down into your heel. You know, and I don't know what you do every day, if you're really active, if you go for a lot of running or walks. I don't know if you've been doing a lot more yard work lately with your bees, but if you haven't, if this is kind of like a mystery, you know, a little like mystery sore spot, I want you to know that, you know, the body will do a lot of really interesting things. And, you know, sometimes we wake up with these really weird pains and we just have no idea where it came from. And, you know, so it's good to investigate. If you haven't already, go ahead and switch so you can do the other calf too. But I think it's really good to investigate, you know, and to be curious about why we're experiencing what we're experiencing in the body. But at the same time, kind of lean into the coming and going of sensation in the body. This is one thing that I've been practicing in my mindfulness-based meditation is trying to become a little bit more comfortable with discomfort in the body that shows up in the form of pain or stiffness or soreness or you know, sometimes it's related to thoughts and emotions of how I'm feeling, but just learning to recognize when I'm feeling discomfort and then also recognize when that discomfort subsides. And just leaning into this idea of the fact that this is the nature of all things, that there is an arising and a ceasing, much like the waves of the ocean. There's a coming and a going, much like the clouds in the sky. And the same is true for discomfort. Okay, so hopefully you're on that second side and you are making your way down
And one thing I didn't mention on the first side, but when you start to get towards the Achilles heel, you can also use the ankle. You can kind of roll your foot like this and, you know, just kind of like use this movement of the foot and the ankle to help release that Achilles heel. This feels good. I have a feeling that my legs are gonna get like the best sleep tonight. I haven't done this in a really long time, so I'm glad you mentioned that you were feeling some discomfort down there in your heels, because it reminded me of this really useful practice. Okay, and you know, our calves, I don't know, how often do we actually give them any attention? You know, they are quite important muscles in our body. But they don't often get a lot of attention. So from here, okay, after you're done, you're gonna set your blocks off to the side and you're gonna come back to a seated position, and then we're gonna bring the soles of the feet together, allow the knees to open about to the side, and we'll just come into bound ankle pose for a moment. Yeah, so you might just rock a little side to side and find that nice even distribution of weight through the right and the left sit bone. Imagine here that you are growing up and out of your pelvis, allowing your body to lengthen. And just taking a few breaths here. Okay. And then I want you to go ahead and bring the knees together. And we're going to do one more little treatment for the ankle and for this whole region here. Hopefully it will help you a little bit. So what I want you to do is, after you've started to bring the knees together, I want you to bring your right foot in, okay, towards your groin, and then just allow your left leg to come out to the side. And now this is kind of funky. If you've never done this before, it might feel a little weird, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our fingers and we're gonna thread them in between the toes, okay? We're gonna be giving the toes a really big stretch. So I want you to take your first finger, push it in between your big toe and middle toe. Your middle finger goes in between your middle toe and the next toe, and so on. You're just gonna be trying to spread the toes open nice and wide using your fingers. Okay, and you'll end up with like a big old webbing kind of thing going on. This feels weird, I know. So it's one of those things where if it feels really awkward, you know you're doing it right. Okay, and I want you to now relax your hand, and you're gonna squeeze your toes around your fingers. So you're going to do a little squeeze, and that might be kind of painful. It might be a little painful, not only on the foot, but also on the fingers. And a little squeeze. You're going to relax your toes, and now you're going to squeeze your hand. You're going to squeeze your foot into your hand. Okay, you're going to grip it. And then you're going to do that again, but squeeze the toes. Relax your hand and squeeze your toes around your fingers. Relax your foot, and now squeeze your fingers around your foot. Make sure you're just going back and forth. Squeeze, and then squeeze. And do that one more time. Squeeze your toes, relax, and then grip your fingers and relax. Okay, and then you're gonna release. You're gonna let your fingers come loose. I want you to just take your legs out in front of you for a moment and take a look at your feet. And I want you to notice if your feet look the same, do they look different? How do they feel? Does your left foot feel different than your right foot? You know, what are some interesting things that you notice after doing that stretch of the toes and that little treatment of your foot? For me, I always notice that the side that I treated, it feels more alive than the other one. Like my my ability to feel into that part of my body is heightened. So I always find that a little interesting. Okay, so now we're gonna do the other side. So I want you to bend your knees and then bring that left heel in towards your body. Your right foot stays out in front, and then you're gonna go ahead and slide your fingers in between the toes. Okay, and then once you've got those fingers in between the toes, then you're gonna squeeze the foot in the hand, relax, and then squeeze the toes around the fingers. Oh, feels so weird. It's like a hurt so good. And just do this a few times. Just getting a little more blood flow into this area. Fresh blood means fresh nutrients, right? Fresh oxygen. Like it's a nice work for the plantar, the bottom of the foot, lots of tissues down there. Just getting some love in there. And then go ahead and release. So releasing your fingers. And we'll go ahead and stretch the legs out in front, and we'll just, again, just take a moment to notice your feet and notice how they look, notice how they feel. Just paying attention to those little details, allowing your sensory awareness to move down into the feet. Okay, and so now just keep your feet out in front of you. We're gonna come into a nice forward fold. So I want you to bring your hands right next to your hips and just rock side to side, finding your height once again. And you're gonna tone up right here so you're nice and strong, feeling support from the inside out. And let's inhale the arms up. And then as you exhale, you're gonna fold. Just come down any amount that feels good. Come back to that idea of the lower half of your body being grounded. Backs of the thighs are moving down into the earth. The leg bones are getting heavy into the ground. And your spine is flowing up and over the legs. The head drops. The shoulders soften. Just relaxing your eyes, relaxing your facial muscles. And then gently start to lift yourself all the way up out of seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. And you're going to bend your knees. And from here, we're going to come onto our back. So make sure you've got that yoga block handy. And once you're down, I'd like you to just set the block off to the side so that it's right there within reaching distance. You're going to bring your palms right next to your body. Your arms are down by your sides. And you'll rotate your palms so that they're facing down here if you'd like. And I want you to let your shoulders be in a relaxed position. We're going to come into a bridge pose. So on your next breath in, I want you to push down into your feet and lift your hips up. And when you get into that bridge pose, pause. Squeeze your glutes. Push into your feet evenly. If you'd like to keep your shoulder blades apart, you can for a low bridge. If you want to make it more of a heart opening position, you're going to roll your shoulders underneath you. Shoulder blades come a little closer, and then you just push down into the length of the arms. Push down into those arms. You feel the backs of the arms really helping to lift the heart. Good. Take another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, separate those shoulder blades, come all the way down. And now locate your yoga block. We're going to come into a supported bridge pose now. So I want you to start with the low height. You're going to lift your hips up again. Slide the block underneath your pelvis.
So it's right underneath that triangular bony shape at the base of your spine. And I want you to be on the lower height because eventually we're going to take this into an inversion. Okay, but I want you to start here. Your shoulder blades are relaxed. Shoulders are nice and heavy. Palms can roll open here if they'd like. And just want you to take a moment to just be here. Just relaxing, letting go. Allowing yourself to be fully in this moment. And now from here, I want you to bring your knees in towards your chest. So you're in a little supported double knee to chest pose. Your hips are a little bit higher, elevated by the block. And you can stay here for as long as you want. But if you are wanting to take the legs up into the air, go ahead and straighten the legs. You can either do one at a time or you can do both. And as the legs come up, just make sure you're toned, you're supporting yourself from the center out. Let your arms relax, relax your shoulders. Feel those shoulder blades gently pressing onto your back. And then just let the legs be up here, up into the air. So legs up the wall pose. This is a version of it in the middle of the room. Now, this is a great pose for inflammation in the feet and inflammation in the legs. And so if you're feeling a lot of pain in your heel and in your Achilles heel, that's often a sign of inflammation in the body. And so a pose like this, it's unsupported, so this requires a lot more effort. You can also do it at the wall, as I know we've done before, where you are able to use the wall to support you a bit more. But this is a great way to help reduce some inflammation in that sore spot in your heel. I'd also highly recommend some ice, just putting some ice onto that sore heel, especially after doing this yoga practice. We did so much for the feet and we did a lot for the calves. And so it would be a really good idea to just throw some ice on there, about 15 minutes or so, just to have that be a part of your treatment tonight for that sore spot in your body. And see you tomorrow. See if it helps relieve some of that discomfort. If you don't like ice, you can try heat. Heat for some people, heat works better for inflammation. When I'm feeling really, really tight, I will do heat. But if I'm feeling inflammation, like pain, then I will do ice. But it's really dependent on the person. So you might want to experiment a little bit, or if you already know what works best for you when you're feeling inflammation. And also maybe a nice salt bath, or filling a bucket with some warm water and then putting ice salt, if you've got Epsom salt, or if you've got Himalayan pink sea salt, and just making yourself a really nice salt bath to soak your feet in. That might also really help. And take another deep breath in. And then we're going to go ahead and come on out of this. So you're going to bend your knees, let your feet come towards your bum, let your knees come in towards your body. Just hang out here for a moment. And then we'll go ahead and set the feet down. Lift your hips. Slide the block out from underneath. Let your hips come down to the earth and then just pause. And just allow yourself a few moments here to rest.
And now from here, we're going to come into our final resting pose. And so I'd like you to throw a bolster underneath your legs. I've got my 2 little pillows here. I want you to support your legs. Put that bolster right underneath. Maybe take your pillow or blanket and place it under the head. And we're going to come into a short breathing practice for soothing the body, the nervous system, calming the mind, and helping with a process called grounding. Grounding our energy, moving us into that place of rest and digest that is just so lovely. When we are about to go to sleep, we can do some practices just to really help us move into that restful, peaceful, nourishing night's sleep. And so I want you to allow your body to relax now. Let your legs be heavy. Let your arms soften by your sides. Allow your eyes to close. Let your shoulders be heavy. I just want you to take a nice full breath in. And then gently let that breath go. And let it go slow enough to where you can feel the sensations of the breath leaving your body. Just letting go. Letting go of the day. Letting go of any holding patterns in the body. Letting go, letting go. And now you can, if you want to, take a hand and just place it right onto the belly center. And I want you to bring your awareness all the way down, down into the belly. And as you inhale and exhale, that gentle, easy breath, gentle, easy, natural, nourishing breath, just notice the way the belly rises and falls. Without trying to manipulate your breathing at all. Feel the way the belly rises and falls. When we breathe down into the belly center, we are practicing what's called deep diaphragmatic breath. You know, some of us breathe and feel our breath more up in the chest, which is called chest breathing. And so if you're experiencing less movement in the belly and you're experiencing it more up in the chest area, I want you to know that that's okay, and that over time, through practice, eventually we will learn to bring the awareness of the breath down into the belly. But just see if you can keep your awareness on the way that your belly rises and falls. Perhaps it's helpful to just feel the way the belly presses into the hands, if you have the hands right there on the navel center. And now I'd like you to bring in a count. And you're going to start at the number 20. And with every exhale, you're going to make your way down to 1. And so as you take in that next inhale, allow it to just come in naturally. And as you exhale, say 20. Inhale, exhale, 19.
Inhale, exhale, 18. And keep going, slowly counting your way all the way down to 1. And if you find that you get lost in thought, the attention moves away from the belly and away from the counting, just acknowledge that that's happening and it's okay. This is part of that coming and going, arising and ceasing that happens in the mind. Same thing happens in the mind. And you just come back again. You start at 20 and you practice, slowly making your way from 20 to 1. Now, wherever you are in your practice, just gently let go of the counting. Let your arms return by your sides if the palms are on the stomach. And let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. And let that breath go. And just notice the imprint of the practice. Notice how that felt for you. And again, just observing how you feel in your body and your mind. And we'll gently let go of our practice now. We'll start to bring some wiggles into our fingers and our toes. And let's go ahead and bend the knees and hug them in towards the body. Gently rock a little side to side. And then you'll roll to one side, your favorite side. Pause, just pausing for peace. And then slowly make your way up to a seat. And once you come up to a seat, you'll go ahead and bring your palms together at your heart. Close your eyes, sitting up nice and tall. Taking a moment for gratitude. Just bringing to mind something that you are appreciative of today. Maybe there was something really lovely that happened. Perhaps you noticed something beautiful, or you read an uplifting story, or perhaps it was just a moment that you had to yourself that brought you some peace inside. Just Bringing to mind something from your day today that you are grateful for. And then if you care to join me in an Om, we'll close our practice this evening. Nice deep breath in. Om. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful practice. So I'm seeing your comment. You didn't realize how tight the calf was. I wonder if that was contributing to your heel pain. Oh, good. I'm so glad that you needed that and that it was useful. I would be really interested to know how your heel is feeling tomorrow, if anything that we did tonight was useful and if it helped to relieve your discomfort. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you want to chat about before I go? Awesome. Yeah, it's a good guess. Might be it. Yeah. All right, Sian. Good night. And yes, I'll see you Thursday. Namaste.